Okay, hello, welcome back. Good evening. So we got Bitcoin currently at 106,922. It hasn't really moved too much, right? What did I Yesterday was 106,000 approximately, so we did reach 107,000 just a little bit, but nothing too crazy. Actually a relatively low volatile day, right? We did get some economic data which brought little to no volatility, surprisingly, mostly because I don't even know. Market seems to be headed in a different direction. There's opposing view as to whether or not we should deserve some rate cuts. I even heard some institution, I forget who, I think it was like Morgan Stanley or something, or JP Morgan. Is those different banks? I'm forgetting. Yeah, something like that. They mentioned by 2026 we could get like 7 rate cuts or something after March, which is like an excessive amount. I don't even know if that's true, but we ultimately did get higher than expected inflation, which it's not good for getting rates cut, which is what we do want a little sooner. So maybe now Powell's on the smirky side, like, yeah, see, I told you guys so. It's better not to cut the rates yet, but we shall see eventually how it turns out. Now, we are hovering right above this old downtrend, right? So I was expecting this kind of a movement anyway. At least we were going to drop around 105,000 maybe. From there, we can start getting our bounce back up. This breakout will be very imminent, and it might even happen as early as Sunday evening, because tomorrow is going to be Saturday, relatively low day. If we do see a pump breakout from here on a Saturday, don't trust it. It's you never really want to trust Sunday pumps, Saturday pumps, sorry. So it's a little iffy out in that sense. But for now, either way, we do have an uptrend technically defined. I don't really have one drawn here, so I'm going to do that right now. From this low point, right here, all the way to our most recent low, right there. I could kind of get rid of this down channel. I don't think we need it. It kind of did serve its purpose to predict where we would drop approximately, which coincided right over here with this fib line. And this is the uptrend that will be defining the rest of this bull run for now, I suppose. I would say we would. I mean, we could see a drop, like I said, over here, 105,000, just as continuation of the decay over the weekend, while the super trend kind of regulates itself and, you know, gets into an appropriate direction, because right now it's pointing to an invalidation at 103,000 of the current uptrend, when, you know, longer term uptrend kind of defines it differently. So, you know, well, it would all really depend. Momentum is still kind of pointing a little bit towards the downside, so that just further reinforces my idea of we will just see price continue to decay over the weekend. But yeah, like I said, come Sunday, Monday, we should start seeing the pump right over here. This is over here because this is the area that we're going to see a lot of shorts getting liquidated. Matter of fact, I do want to draw out where those levels are, because it could come a little sooner even. Liquidation heat map is what I want. You could go with like one of the biggest providers, probably from, I think this is including a lot of them, right? For this past week. Yeah, you're getting a couple $1 million over here liquidated at 100. From about 109,500 to 108,250. That's about where I have this drawn out, right? Around this red zone. So all this will cause a very big liquidation event. Short squeeze is what we call it, where all these short positions would be forced to be closed because there's just so much buying activity. They're getting liquidated. They have to close their positions. And when you close a short position, what do? You buy. So that just domino effects all the way upward. We're going to see a good breakout over here. We're going to test our all-time high, 112,000. And then from there, we'll be getting new pivot levels for sure. I would hope the first one is still around 112. The second one, we could expect it maybe, You know, just following what we're seeing here, 115,000. Ultimately, the most important one, 122,000, where even this pivot resistance 5 has coincided there. So that would be the important levels that we should be paying attention to. So I have a very bullish outlook for the next week. Even if we're going to M2 money supply, I know that has no longer been talked about ever since World War III kind of kicked us off course. But now that there is no more war, what's stopping Bitcoin, really, right? There's still a lot of big plans from US Congress to, you know, Genius Act is still going to happen. They still got a plan to buy more Bitcoins. A lot of other states are also getting Bitcoin legislations approved. I have a US Strategic Bitcoin Reserve map. Texas is approved, Arizona is approved, and New Hampshire approved. Declined in Montana, Wyoming, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Pennsylvania, but they can always try again next year. Utah is in progress, and then these other ones are proposed. They're pursuing one, right? Some are proposed and pursuing, others are proposed. They're on the right direction, others are just proposed, but they're not pursuing yet other states, as you can see right over here. So it's going to take a while, but ultimately you want to see this whole map turn green, and by then, indeed, the US will be the crypto capital of the world. I'm wondering why Washington is not doing that. And also this whole rainy day funds that I saw over here, it's like a non-emergency funds that the state has that they could hypothetically allocate towards buying X amount of Bitcoin, and it tells you how much each state could practically afford. California, 207,000 Bitcoins. That is more than the United States itself that it holds already from just seizing assets from Silk Road, right? 30,000, 8,000, you know, there's still a lot. Texas is approved, and they could, like, this is more likely. Texas could possibly get 222,000 Bitcoins, although I'm assuming those people there would say, oh, this is not really wise. We shouldn't be using our emergency funds to buy Bitcoins, right? Maybe some. They could still do some, but it's not going to be an excessive amount. That's the only difference there. What other is a rich state? New York? Not even. Yeah, not seeing big numbers here. So biggest numbers looks like it's Texas and California. Surprised Washington isn't much higher. Yeah, that's all. Okay, so just wanted to share that. Just to let you guys know, we are still early in this game, even as we are approaching all-time highs. Guys, S&P 500, NASDAQ already hit their all-time highs once again. We have a lot of institutional investors in the crypto space right now. Those guys will follow what Wall Street does. They're soon, if they're pumping the S&P 500 and NASDAQ 100 to all-time high levels, sooner or later you're going to see Bitcoin there. We don't see it yet for Dow Jones or Russell. Those will eventually get to their all-time highs. They do have like specific companies that are struggling within their indices. That's the main reason why we're not seeing those pump. But like the bigger companies, they're already, you know, reaching all-time highs. Nvidia's been reaching all-time highs. Coinbase, we already saw yesterday, hitting high levels that we haven't seen for a very long time. So it's looking really good, the outlook so far. And eventually this will come to Bitcoin as well. Ethereum will catch up as well. And then we're going to start seeing massive pumps for the rest of the altcoins. I gave a whole explanation on this yesterday. If you want to watch yesterday's video, specific amounts and each altcoin's potential, you could do a double check that. For now, let's analyze the rest of our tokens. Speaking of Ethereum, 2,415, no movement today, 0.92% up. We still got a resistance at 2,500. You could say 2,539, 2,540. It's confusing because of this pivot resistance, but that amount should change very soon. And I would assume it would be right where this high, the high of this candle was, which would have been 2,519. You could just average both of them out. 2,525 would be the resistance for Ethereum. In terms of support, I mean, we're technically, what is this? This is supposed to be a resistance where our level is hovering right now. We do have the pivot level over here, which could change to an average of around 2,380 by the time we get our next pivot levels. These were just waiting until, we're basically just waiting for this weekend to blow over, price decay, or just similar movement of nothing. Yeah, because not a lot of fundamentals have been going on either. I also do want to maybe see if we can enter any new positions. Bananas is still going bananas. This is what liquidated me, by the way. It's just had such crazy increases and I couldn't keep up. I'll check what these other ones are. Say was looking a little interesting, but I wasn't really content with its momentum or price action. Like it wasn't overbought or anything. I'll go into more details with Say, possibly. Let's have a look at Solana for now. Within this zone, 141 is the current price. We do got to break out of 150 in order to confirm an uptrend right over here. It should be simple to do. We will get this area right over here, big short liquidation zone. Do I have a heat map for Solana? I'm assuming 150 is that level. It is indeed 148 to 150. You're getting a couple $1 million of Solana liquidated up there. And in terms of the bottom half, liquidation leverage for longs below 136, right? And 136 would be around, it's actually relatively close. It's like right below this area right here. Liquidations for longs where we could just see price dip over here. Where could we reaccumulate, I guess, by the time we reach this uptrend over here? If, you know, Solana does crash, that's a possibility of where it could land. You know, an 8% drop seems reasonable to there. So we could start reaccumulating over here and retest this area once again. Maybe super trend will drop a little bit, but still nonetheless 150. All these liquidations, they're not going nowhere unless they take profits with whatever drop that comes up soon. But watch out for Solana because I think it will have a great movement toward its upside and it can easily reach 170 very soon after breaking an easy barrier of 150. XRP managed to bounce off of this support pivot level, 206 approximately. The current price is 214. We're on our way up as well for XRP. I do want to check. I'm very interested on this whole liquidation thing. Could give you good insights as to where things could be headed. Can I try 2 week chart? Yeah, I think this gives us a better idea. 223 is looking like a big liquidation zone. Not much going on up there. And then also similar deal right there. A lot of forced close positions for longs below 206. So 223 is another level you got to watch out for. This, I'm assuming, is just outdated data. Most of these short positions would have probably already been closed. Where was this again? 223. Do I have this here? I have it set 226. Maybe around here, right? 223. Up until where? What is this level? 228. 228. All this is liquidation, short liquidations, which makes sense, right? Even if you increase this by that amount, all these shorts will be closed, forced closed. So, you know, you even got a positive breakout outlook for XRP by breaking its downtrend. It's going to be an easy movement upward as well. I don't think 230 will be a struggle after we do break that. We're probably just going to start using 230 as our support levels. But you're seeing a lot of longs as well below 206 around this area right over here for liquidations and longs. So that's another thing you got to pay attention to. This almost got a couple people liquidated, but, you know, it's nothing too crazy, right? Just a couple $1 million. 60, 40, $50 million approximately. Here on the upside is a lot bigger. 100 million, 114, 93, 102, 93, 85, 87, 79, etc. So good amount of money to be liquidated, possibly $1 billion, could be added to the market cap. Did I say $1 billion? I meant to say 100 million. I don't think that's right. whatever. This is all liquidated, sorry, leveraged positions, not liquidated positions. So liquidation gets easy in that sense. So I wanted to point out. Bulls seize market control on SUI. It gained 4.2% today. The current increase is at 2.62. The price is at 268.94. We still got to increase our position right over here for the super trend. What is this? About 285. Sui's been on an interesting journey over the past 24 hours. Price moved from around 263 yesterday to approximately 269 currently, showing some positive momentum. Notable pattern. After reaching a peak of 279 early this morning, SUI has experienced a slight correction. There's ETF filing news. 21 shares has filed for a SUI spot ETF in the United States, becoming the second potential issuer to do so. This institutional interest could bring significant attention to SUI, which I do hope that does happen, of course. SUI being one of the ETFs that get, spot ETF approved. SUI being one of the crypto gets spot ETF approved. Also, price recovery after dropping nearly 21% from its May peak. We're showing some signs of recovery, which is a good thing. But there are some security concerns with the security incident involving $160 million stolen by hackers, which may impact investor sentiment. I did cover that one before. It's been a couple of months now. What was it called? Celsius? No, that was a different thing. It was it was a liquidity pool that got stolen, and SUI had to eventually free some assets to prevent the hacker from moving those stolen funds around. But that's way behind us by now. I don't think that's going to impact the price anymore. It's already priced in. Plus, we just survived World War III, so SUI should be on its way back up from here as well. In terms of liquidations, I do want to readjust this chart. Do we even have one for here? We have a bunch of disgusting altcoins here. I don't see SUI though, unless I saw it. Here it is. Let's see, what do we got? That looks really fat. 292. It's not even that much money though. 30 million. It's nothing too significant. So around 285 to like 295, 285 to 295. I have this leveled out here. 285. So that's like, okay, I don't want to do that. Yeah, that is literally right over here at this barrier. To 295, I'll just reduce this size. Right around there. Yeah, like this is all just making sense, right? I'm not crazy. Like this downtrend will get broken and we'll just see a massive price pump from there, from the short squeeze. It's not going to be too enormous, but SUI is not as big cap as Ethereum or Bitcoin is, right? So you're not hundreds of millions of dollars is not going to be seen to get liquidated by shorts, but a couple million nonetheless. It's still something, right? 2 million, what is this? Sorry, 31 million, 12 million, 19 million, 4 million, 18, 19, 20 million dollars, approximately around there. In terms of longs, there's actually not that many. Seems like a lot of people are more bearish over here, but boy, are they wrong. They will see a big liquidation event. Next, we got Litecoin. Look at that price action. What do you even call this? It's just not even moving anymore. It's still at 84, still resistance 85. Nothing really changes. Invalidates at 88.66. It's downtrend, which I kind of predicted we would see an extension of this for up to maybe over here, which that could see a breakout of this downtrend. Because I don't think this one's a little bit too soon. We will still break out of it, but we would probably be reaching 87 by then. The most important one will probably be over here. Then we reach, I don't know, all these small resistances. We're probably getting new pivot levels. These are very separated, so we can't quite tell exactly how far it can move due to previous volatility, but now it should be on the right track once again. And Cardano, 0.45% movement. Current price is 55 cents. Same deal, not a lot of movement from before. Downtrend invalidates at 60. Should be easy to cross. And triple floor, by the way. 1, 2, 3. So it's proven that 50 cents is really, really strong support level. You shouldn't see this kind of thing happen, or like you shouldn't see that happen is what I mean, like a drop below 50. Because just of how strong it is and the amount of demand of buying that there is down over here. I would like to see a liquidation heat map for Cardano. Do I have to refresh this or what? Oh, there we go, it's loading. This looks hideous, but what do we got here? A couple million as well, 20 million. It's looking like, I don't know, a lot of short liquidation could be happening. Long liquidations right over here, but you'll notice that there's no long liquidates at 50 cents because any longs that would get liquidated would slow us down around over here, 51 cents, 50 cents, and then people will just start accumulating from there once again. Seems like the biggest level is around 59.60, which, I mean, you see where the 60 is, right? This is where shorts would get liquidated, so breaking out of that should be simple as well. I'm just seeing a positive outlook for all of these coins, given their liquidations. Short levels are very, very close. Each coin has a chance of, you know, the smallest pump that it can have will just force a short squeeze and will just take us much higher. So expect high volatility towards the upside for this upcoming week. I still think either tonight or, you know, Saturday, sorry. Could be early Sunday too. Should be good times for accumulating. Probably something that I'm going to do, even though it's not too wise. I'll still gamble a position on it. It's fine. Like I'll actually use a stop loss risk reward ratio 1:2 or 1:3 maybe, depending. And, you know, Sunday evening, once Asian markets open, indices open, we should see some positive momentum there, hopefully. So yeah, that's the technical analysis I've got for you today. Let's move on to the news that we got. So we did get PCE inflation data. It came in 0.2%, little higher than expected. We expected 0.1%. So we did expect inflation to go up just a little bit, but it went up a little bit higher than what we expected. And year over year, it's also been increasing 2.7% when we were expecting 2.6%. So that 0.1% kind of messed us up. The markets did see a little drop toward the downside, but ultimately we still hit all-time highs for like the S&P 500. So, you know, it's whatever. There should be less chance of a rate cut, but really it's like 0.1%. The market's like, it's no big deal, really. And so this is the Fed's preferred inflation measure, right? Not May, but, you know, PCE inflation. It rose to 2.3%. Some say that's in line with expectations, above expectations. PCE inflation is now rising for the first time since February 2025, which is when Trump took office, which means that the Fed pause will continue. They will still likely not cut rates. The chances we did see before were 3 rate cuts for this year. I do want to check if that has changed at all. At least maybe for December, that was almost a coin toss, maybe a 50-50. I think it was 60-40. Well, no, it's still there. 56% to 43% in December. So next meeting, which is going to be July, nothing happens. That is to be expected. The meeting after that, September, we got a 1 rate cut, 91% chance that happens. October, the next meeting, a 78% chance we get a rate cut. That's 2. And then December, the last rate cut, 56% chance. Is not that much of a high percentage, but it's still there. It's still in the positive side for us. So that's a potential of 3 rate cuts this year. And that's ultimately why the markets didn't go fully bearish. We're still expecting, you know, inflation to drop even after seeing these readings. It probably had to be done, you know. I don't even know really what to blame the inflation on. Maybe the war. That's really about it. Who knows? But I think the war should be reflected on this month's PCE inflation once we get that next month, right? Next week, we will be getting non-farm payroll data, which will probably be a little bit more important. So we shall see how that, what the result of that is. Is that next week or the week after, actually? Could be wrong. Next week, Thursday, Friday. Oh, Friday is, okay. So Friday is July the 4th, Independence Day, no market open, and no economic data. We will have that stuff on Thursday instead, July 3rd. We're getting the non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate. That's what's going to be important. And check this out. Tuesday, we're also getting a Fed Chair Powell speech. God knows what this guy's going to say again. But yeah, that's all we got for this day. Friday is the PCE data. Monday, not much is going to happen. Tuesday, Fed Chair Powell speech. Wednesday, nothing happens. Thursday, we get non-farm payroll. And Friday is the day off for Americans. So there you have it. Of course, Trump is outraged, calling Fed Chair Jerome Powell a stubborn mule and a stupid person because I think he's just seething at, inflation is on the rise a little bit, and he knows that Fed Chair Powell is going to be like, oh yeah, you see guys, inflation is on the rise, so we're not gonna cut rates as soon as you guys think, and Trump really wants this guy to cut rates. So that's the little dispute going on there. We already covered before that Trump was already interviewing other candidates to replace Jerome Powell very soon. 2026 is when his term ends. I did want to talk about Thomas Massie, another Republican who has been in a little fight with Trump. I've been delaying this news because I had to cover other more important stuff. At that time, it was the war in Iran-Israel, right? So this is from June 22nd. Trump apparently declared war on Thomas Massie, like figuratively speaking. He's saying that it should require an act of Congress. So this is what Trump posted about Thomas Massie, and we're going to read it all, so get ready. Congressman Thomas Massie of Kentucky is not MAGA, even though he likes to say he is. Actually, MAGA does not want him. Make America Great Again. They don't know him, they don't respect him. He's a negative force who always votes no, no matter how good something may be. So he's just calling him out on his hypocrisy, I guess. He's a simple-minded grandstander who thinks it's good politics for Iran to have the highest level nuclear weapon, while at the same time yelling death to America at every chance they get. Iran has killed and maimed thousands of Americans, and even took over the American embassy in Tehran under the Carter administration. We had a spectacular military success yesterday, taking the bomb right out of their hands, and they would use it if they could. Speaking, of course, of when the United States bombed Iran. But as usual, and despite all of the praise and accolades received, this lightweight congressman, Thomas Massie, is against what was so brilliantly achieved last night in Iran. Massie is weak and ineffective and votes no on virtually everything put before him, Rand Paul Jr., no matter how good something may be. He's disrespectful to our great military and all that they stand for, not even acknowledging their brilliance and bravery in yesterday's attack, which was a total and complete win. Massie should drop his faked act and start putting America first, but he doesn't know how to get there. He doesn't have a clue. He undoubtedly voted against the great big beautiful bill, even though non-passage means a 68% tax increase for everybody, and many things far worse than that. MAGA should drop this pathetic loser, Tom Massie, like the plague. The good news is that we will have a wonderful American patriot running against him in the Republican primary, and I'll be out in Kentucky campaigning really hard. Wow, so that's the war that Trump kind of declared on Thomas Massie. MAGA is not about lazy, grandstanding, non-productive politicians, of which Thomas Massie is definitely one. Thank you to our incredible military for the amazing job they did last night. It was really special. Make America great again. So it seems like Thomas Massie, by the looks of things, was criticizing Trump for getting United States troops involved in this conflict in the Middle East, which a lot of people also did oppose. It wasn't just Thomas Massie. But Trump really went off on this guy because he's also saying that, him being a Republican is voting against what the Republicans are going for, at least what MAGA is going for. That's what Trump says. He's not even MAGA, and we don't even want him in MAGA. Now he's also threatening with getting this guy out of Congress by voting him out in the primaries, outvoting him with another representative, which literally anyone else is what seems like. Whoever runs in Kentucky against Thomas Massie, Trump will support Thomas Massie's opponent, whoever that is, right? Just to ensure that this guy does not get reelected. So Thomas Massie said, wow. Anyway, then so far, Thomas Massie has shrugged off every attack from the president with a laugh, is kind of what has been going on. And Trump has doubled down on it, I guess, quote tweeting his previous essay saying, get this bum out of office ASAP. Like, really, really, he wants him out. So, yeah, that's the little drama that has been going on. Just wanted to share that. It's good to know what's going on there. This was also interesting to see. U.S. House of Representatives officially bans the use of WhatsApp on all official devices. I wonder why. What is Mark Zuckerberg doing anyway? And this is also making the headlines today. Trump says that the U.S. is ending all discussions on trade with Canada effective immediately. Why? This just seems like it's completely out of nowhere. Now, this is what Trump has posted on it. And it's only with Canada, not with Mexico, by the way. We have just been informed that Canada, a very difficult country to trade with, including the fact that they have charged our farmers as much as 400% tariffs for years on dairy products, has just announced that they are putting a digital services tax on our American technology companies, which is a direct and blatant attack on our country. What even is this digital services tax? I'm going to have to look that up. They are obviously copying the European Union. That is true. Like, that's something I pointed out. Like, this Mark Carney guy has very close ties with, European Central Bank, or was it the British Bank, whatever it was. British Central Bank. I don't know what it's called. But everything that Europe is doing, it seems like he's trying to separate Canada from being reliant on the United States and instead look towards Europe as their closest ally or partner. The only thing separating them, of course, the Atlantic Ocean. So anyway, Trump says that this, which has done the same thing and is currently under discussion with us, also talking about the digital services tax that European Union has also put onto the United States. Based on this egregious tax, we are hereby terminating all discussions on trade with Canada effective immediately. We will let Canada know the tariff that they will be paying to do business with the United States of America within the next 7-day period. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So tariffs are coming back, at least just for Canada, and he's gonna decide within the next 7 days the severity of the tariff that he will be imposing onto Canada. So yay, can't wait for this economy to go much worse. Yeah, it's just not getting any good. It seems like this is it. The first payment for Canada's digital tax is still due Monday. What is this? All because of the dairy cartel and digital service taxes. What? Digital service tax stays in place despite G7 deal. Canada's proceeding with its digital services tax on technology companies, such as Meta Platforms, despite a group of 7 agreement that resulted in removing the Section 899 revenge tax proposal from U.S. President Trump's tax bill. First payment for Canada's digital tax is still due Monday. The country's finance department confirmed and covers revenue retroactively to 2022. That is significant. You're retroactively charging tax on the United States as far back as 2022 for technology companies like Facebook. That's crazy. The tax is 3% from the digital services revenue a firm makes from Canadian users above $20 million. So that's $14.6 million in a calendar year. American dollars. Keeping the digital tax will not affect the G7 agreement, which focuses on global minimum taxes, the finance department said. Section 899 provision would have targeted companies and investors from countries that the U.S. determines are unfairly taxing American companies. All right, well, who knows? Who knows what's going to come of that. I do want to look it up, though. Digital services tax. Yeah, I know that Trump is ending it, but what does it do? What is this? It's a 3% annual tax on Canadian source digital services revenue earned by certain large domestic and foreign businesses, such as Amazon, Google, Meta, Uber, Airbnb. All right. That's weird to just randomly charge this, and also retroactively. 3% annual. I don't even know about that. It doesn't even seem like a big amount. But Trump is really mad about it, and he's going to put tariffs on Canada again because of that. Now, moving on, I do want to talk about that housing thing that you can now use crypto as a collateral to buy a house. Redefining the American dream. Bitcoin has just crossed a major milestone, and most people don't realize how big this is. For the first time, the US housing system is preparing to treat Bitcoin as an asset for mortgages. Here's what that means, why it's such a big deal, and what comes next. So it's not hyper speculation. It's a formal directive from William Polt, and I shared this yesterday. The US Director of Federal Housing delivered straight to the top of the $13 trillion US mortgage market. Bitcoin is being elevated to a position of serious financial legitimacy. Guys, did I stream yesterday? I keep saying I said this yesterday. Did I even stream yesterday? What was yesterday? Yesterday was Thursday. I probably streamed Wednesday and not Thursday. Looking at my channel now. No, I streamed 23 hours ago, so I did stream yesterday. Okay, just wanted to make sure I'm not giving misinformation. So yeah, I did share this yesterday then. It delivered straight to the top of the $13 trillion US mortgage market. Bitcoin is being elevated to a position of serious financial legitimacy. The US mortgage market is the largest consumer credit market on Earth. Over $13 trillion in outstanding debt. Fannie and Freddie back over 60% of it. This isn't just a win for Bitcoin. It's the moment it enters the core plumbing of the US credit system. For anyone who holds a large percent of their net worth in Bitcoin, shout out RFK Jr., this solves a massive friction. Until now, buying a home usually meant selling Bitcoin to meet mortgage qualification rules. But soon, you will be able to use it instead without triggering capital gains tax, right? You'd have to pay double the tax on that because you're paying tax when you make profit on Bitcoin, and also you're paying tax when you make profit on selling your house. So now it's just going to be minimized to one of the two, which would be pretty cool. This is the same playbook we saw with ETFs. First recognition, then limited implementation, then full integration. Bitcoin is becoming not just an asset you can buy, but one the system can build on. So it's really cool that this is happening, and even Michael Saylor has praised all of this. The policy, though, it isn't perfect. Currently, only Bitcoin held on US regulated exchange qualifies, not self-custody. So that's unfortunate. But it's also a detail that's likely to evolve. The direction is clear. Bitcoin is being legitimized fast. Why this sucks is it's just like, not your keys, not your crypto. If you have your Bitcoin on an exchange, anything can happen to the exchange. You can lose your Bitcoin. It's better to self-custody that, and soon enough, surely, most companies, or, you know, in this case, mortgage estates would be able to accept your own self-custody crypto as collateral. So we're now on a path to Bitcoin-backed mortgage bonds, risk-adjusted rates for Bitcoin holders, credit scoring that accounts for cold storage, and a world where sovereign debt and consumer debt both tap Bitcoin as collateral. Another day, another massive Bitcoin tailwind the market hasn't priced in. That is also true. You see how flat the market is right now. Nothing is happening. It's happening quietly, but it's compounding. And another thing that's also not being taken into account, by the way, is the Bitcoin balances on exchanges. It's decreasing still at a rapid rate. There's about 2 million Bitcoin left on all exchanges. So, you know, it's just a matter of time before that supply shock hits. Bitcoin isn't just winning narratives, it's winning policy. And when policy shift, price follows. Soon someone will buy their dream home without selling a single Satoshi because they held Bitcoin, they believed early, and the system caught up to it. That's the future we're entering, and it's coming faster than anyone expected. There could be hope. Ultimately soon. All right, cool. That's all for this. Thank you. All right. I did also want to talk about this. CZ mentioned that, the current American dream is to own a home, but in the future, the American dream will be to own zero point 0.1 Bitcoin, which will be more than the value of a house in the United States. So that's one thing because it is a hedge against inflation. Some people argue that your house is as well, but not really. Bitcoin grows at a much faster rate. It will grow at a much faster rate. So there's that. And also, the previous post, which I mentioned on how you could use Bitcoin to buy a home now. It's going to be great. Just another reason to hold Bitcoin. Eric Trump on World Liberty Financial coin, saying that it could become a top 10 coin, which I don't really know. Can it really? Let me find CoinMarketCap. I could do some quick math here, and I'll give you a coin for scale. Trump token, right over here, official Trump. What was the highest market cap that it ever reached? Can I see that? Historical data. Market cap. Okay. Yeah, but I want to check what was highest market cap. It would have been in February, right? 2,500, 2,000. Sorry, is this 2 billion? 1,000 million, yeah, 2,600,000. Where does that put it? 2,600,000. Right over here, around in the 30s, right? Approximately. Is that fireworks or gunshots? Yeah, probably gunshots. I'm fine. Anyway, so if World Liberty Financial is to reach the top 10, which is a serious project and not a meme coin, by the way, you're looking at a $19 billion market cap. 20 billion. Let's just give it rounded numbers. 20 billion market cap. Pass Hyperliquid, Sui, Cardano, reach below Dogecoin. Okay. I mean, Tron is already there with the support of Justin Sun and him getting involved in a lot of Trump projects. Tron has gone up in market cap significantly to 25 billion. So there's still that chance. But this claim that it could reach top 10, depending on whatever happens with this project. And we know that Tron is heavily invested in there, so we could get some of that momentum to push World Liberty Financial into the top 10. I think there is a possibility, although not very high. It's still there. Like, I would give it maybe a top 20, definitely. 6 billion market cap, sure. Like, the literal Trump project coin. It's going to live on forever. Legacy is going to carry on because even his sons are involved in it. Tron is involved in it. It's just going to, it's going to spread and, I don't even know how to say this. It's just going to be very adopted everywhere, I guess, with whatever these people decide to do with it. Here's some news about Ripple's SEC case. They agree to drop the appeals and end legal battle. Has that been reflected in the price? Possibly. I mean, XRP is currently pumping as we speak. 215. The CEO, Brad Garlinghouse, says. So he said that we're closing this chapter once and for all and focusing on what's most important. Building the internet of value. Lock in. He posted this right over here. What is the original post? XRP community, Judge Torres has denied the party's motion for an indicative ruling. So that was what we saw yesterday, right? With this, the ball is back in our court. The court gave us two options. Dismiss or appeal, challenging the finding on historic institutional sales, or press forward with the appeal. It seems like they did not do that. XRP's legal status as not a security remains unchanged. So that court case was won from the past. In the meantime, it's business as usual, and Brad Garlinghouse said that they decided to drop their cross appeal, and the SEC is also expected to drop their appeal as they've previously said. We are closing this chapter once and for all and focusing on what's most important is what he said. Cool. So it seems like XRP is on the right path once again. Seems like it is bullish for XRP, right? It's bearish? How is it bearish? Let me go to Grok here. I would assume it's bearish because they wanted to, like, counter-sue the SEC is probably what it seems like. This post marks the end of a 4-year legal battle between Ripple and the SEC, initiated in December 2020, when the SEC alleged Ripple's 1.3 billion XRP sales violated securities laws. Judge Torres clarified XRP sales on public exchanges were not securities. That was the win that we got last year. Or the year before. Was it last year? I feel like it was last year. I feel like every month something happens with this case. But the CEO, Brad Garlinghouse' statement reflects a strategic pivot to the Internet of Value, a blockchain vision to enable instant global asset transfer supported by Ripple's Interledger protocol, and echoing a 2017 Ripple white paper estimating $1.7 trillion annual savings in cross-border. So the resolution, which despite a rejected $50 million settlement in June 2025, it aligns with a broader SEC retreat from crypto enforcement under new leadership, including Trump's nominee Paul Atkins, challenging the Biden-era SEC's 15 billion XRP market value loss critique as overreach, lacking victim evidence. So, I don't know. It's kind of still up in the air is what it seems like for me. But now here comes tinfoil hat moment, conspiracy time. And this is really cool. This is also news that I've kind of been putting off because it's too lazy to research it, and also we had other stuff to cover, such as the war. This is a post from June 23. All right. And it has to do with the number 589. Why 589? What does that have to do with anything? Well, allow me to explain it to you. Back in the day, there was this number right over here, bunch of numbers, and then 589, just there. It was on a dollar bill in an XRP video, an interview from Brad Garlinghouse, where he was discussing stuff like, Bitcoin, and he details plans on how to change, how money moves across the globe, right? Just, I guess, presenting the concept of Bitcoin and XRP. I'm assuming back in those times he wanted Ripple to be kind of like the digital silver, while Bitcoin be the digital gold. Although I'm still part of the gang that believes Litecoin deserves the digital silver thing, but you got a case there. I will admit that you could make XRP the digital silver. Keep in mind, there was a time one day when XRP did surpass the market cap of Bitcoin. XRP was literally the #1 crypto at one point in history. I can Google it. Was XRP ever #1 in crypto market cap? At the beginning of 20... No. Has XRP ever knew? Yeah, it did. There was a time when XRP was actually the leader of the market, holding the #1 spot. When, though? I want to know when. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, well, anyways, that is besides the point. I don't even know why I brought that up. Oh yeah, the fact that Bitcoin, digital gold, XRP, digital silver. Now, a couple things on that point. Why Bitcoin kind of relates to Ripple in this case. If you ionize liquid gold and silver, you get the colors of Bitcoin and XRP, right? This is gold, right? You ionize that and it gets this like orangey color, which matches the logo of Bitcoin, to kind of give it that essence, that significance that Bitcoin is not liquid gold, because liquid gold is supposed to be, petroleum, but it's the digital gold, right? And that's where you get that color from. And a similar deal with XRP. Now, XRP has like a different logo as well. You normally see this black circle with a white X that looks like the Twitter logo. But before it actually, well, the XRP Ledger logo, like XRP Ledger logo, it's actually this, okay, maybe not Ledger. Ripple logo, what is it called? I'm looking for the I'm looking for this Ripple logo. This Ripple logo. So not XRP specifically, but Ripple. You got this blue thing like this. And you get that from ionizing silver into a liquid, as shown in this video. Right there. Dissolved silver. Literally looks like Ripple Labs. That's the name I was looking for. So what does it have to do with 589? Well, in Bitcoin's source code, which got posted on a forum on May 8, 2009, which, if you number those dates, 589, right? May is 5, 8 is 8, and 2009, this is very, very early in the days when Bitcoin was just created. Its source code got posted May 8, 2009, 589, okay? Cool, glad you're still with me. And then what happened? Satoshi sent an email, Satoshi Nakamoto, sometime in like April or whatever, is like, hey guys, so yeah, I'm just moving on to bigger things in life. I'm keeping my 1 million Bitcoins and see you never. And we never heard of Satoshi Nakamoto ever again. The last email that this guy sent was, does it show here? I think it does. Right over here, April 23rd, 2011. Okay, this is a random date, right? Well, guess what? Oh my god, there's a centipede. Ew, there's a centipede in my room, and it's hairy and it's big. Alright. I'll ignore it for now. Okay, we got a stream to take care of. Ugh, I hate that. It's so disgusting. Anyway, 5 years, 8 months, and 9 days after Satoshi's last email, Brad Garlinghouse is named CEO of Ripple, which is just crazy. Right over here. 5 years, 8 months, 9 days after Satoshi's last email, this guy gets named CEO of Ripple. Isn't that crazy? Like 589 again. 5 years, 8 months, 9 days. 589. It's just there. Now, going back as well, when was this released? The SEC, on May 8, 2009, that same day, May 8, 2009 was the same day that Bitcoin's source code was posted. We actually got a file from the SEC with the file number 59895 on May 8, 2009, which for whatever reason, it's just the numbers are there, 589, it's in there. This file came out as a regulatory blueprint for what would later become Bitcoin's ETFs, which is just way too much coincidences with this 589 thing. You're just seeing it everywhere. And now, this is just one more thing that has happened. From May 8, 2009, exactly 5,890 days, so 589, this guy posts something on Twitter after not posting since, ever since he opened his account, basically. Arthur Brito broke his silence, marking exactly 5,890 days since May 8, 2009, the exact date highlighted over here. And who is this guy, you may ask? I.H. Brito. He has to do with XRP stuff as well. He posted this for the first time. His first tweet. Pretty sure he deleted... I'm also just looking around my room just in case a centipede crawls up my leg. That's happened to me before, eh? Centipede crawling up my leg. Oh, it's the worst. You could attack me at any time. Dude, those things are fast. Anyway. Who is Arthur Brito? I'm looking him up. He has something to do with co-founder and president of PolySign, and also one of the founders of Ripple. So that just makes things even more conspiracy, right? Like, I'm not crazy, right? You're seeing these connections. It's just that's all that I really wanted to share. The 589 and how it relates to XRP. All those cases related. So shout out to nfa.crypto for sharing that. But yes. All right, Bhutan. Ever since they launched their mining program in 2020, they have accumulated 12,000 Bitcoin, which is now worth $1.3 billion, which is now nearly 40% of its GDP, ranking it as the world's third largest state Bitcoin holder. Oh my gosh, that was a thunderstorm outside. That was loud. I saw lightning, and then I'm like, oh, it's probably nothing. And I just hear it boom. Did my mic pick that up? I wonder. I wonder if my mic picked that up. They have accumulated 12,000 Bitcoin, which is now worth 1.3 billion. I'm listening to my own. Which is now nearly 40% of its GDP, ranking it as the world's third largest state Bitcoin holder. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you could hear it. That's crazy. Okay, that's cool. Man, so much stuff is happening. It's gonna be a spooky stream. Probably my scariest one. But yeah. So good for Bhutan. Bottom line, that's all I wanted to mention about this. Countries are adopting Bitcoin. More to come. So that is all. Man, XRP is on its way up today. 217 already. Why? Why are you up? Why is XRP up today? Pumping. Can I spell? Why is XRP pumping right now? Let's see what AI thinks. I just slapped my mic. So, yeah, we suddenly have a thunderstorm outside. That's fine. Resolution of SEC legal battle. So Ripple has officially withdrawn. I thought that was bearish. No, it was bullish then. Okay. Signaling the end of their years-long legal dispute, they withdrew their cross-appeal against the SEC. This removes a major regulatory cloud that has hung over XRP since 2019. The market is responding positively to this regulatory clarity. And potential XRP ETF development as well. It's also one of the highest percentage ETFs that can be coming out. I shared this before. And increased institutional integration. Robinhood has launched micro XRP futures contracts, expanding access to XRP trading with lower capital requirements. Interesting. So that means you could trade stuff with XRP as the base currency. I'm assuming that's what it means. And also Coinbase 50 index will be launched by Crane Shares. And XRP would be the third largest holding, 9% of that. That is also interesting. Does this exist? Coinbase 50 index ETF. I want to know if it exists yet. Well, I should read this. I've thought about this as well, but like it's kind of already what I have, and of course my portfolio in general is not doing that great. But you know, it's still there, it exists. This is what they're looking to allocate. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP as their top 3 assets. 80% of their total. 50% of the Coinbase 50 ETF will be in Bitcoin, 21% of it in Ethereum, and 9% in XRP as per this explanation right here. Solana is going to be there 6%. Dogecoin, really? 2%. And an additional 45 assets, making up a total of 10%. I'm hoping, I don't know. I would replace Dogecoin with Sui, but even Sui, 2% of exposition in there, it seems like relatively low. 21% in Ethereum, you want your portfolio to die. But hey, if you're interested in like creating a Bitcoin portfolio, this could be like a little blueprint for you to follow. Me personally though, I would not. Not these. Too much XRP, too much Ethereum. Solana should be higher. Sui should be in there. If you want something really good, really volatile, that's what I do. Really solid projects as well. Litecoin deserves a spot. Cardano as well. That's all I do. Like I'd still put XRP and Ethereum, but much lower exposition. Alright, there we go. So good pump for XRP today. One of the top pumpers. Okay. Alright guys, I'm gonna murder a centipede in my room somewhere. Try to find it. Wish me luck. I don't even know what to kill it with. Maybe a carpet. There's a thunderstorm going on outside as well, so yeah.